This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by PureVPN. The best way to protect your privacy online is with PureVPN. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all of your devices. You can get a special price and a 31-day money-back guarantee right now by going to pilchpoint.live/PureVPN. All right, Avram, what have you got for us this week?
So, let's talk hubs. You got to have a USB hub. Maybe you got to have more than one USB hub. Let's see what I have in my bag. Oh, USB hubs here. Well,
I feel like this is going to be a Mary Poppins thing.
Yeah, okay. So, do I have all of my USB hubs in this bag? No, but we'll get to it. So, on Tom's Hardware, we have a list of the best USB hubs right now, and I sure invite you to go check it out. And everybody needs a USB hub. The question is, what kind of USB hub do you need? And that really depends on, the first question really is, where are you using it? Is it for your desk where it's going to be set up permanently, or is it going in your bag to use with your laptop on the go? If it's something that's for your desk, then you want a hub that has external power and lots of ports, and ideally you want one that has on and off switches. So here's one. This is an Atola hub that has on-off switches for each port, and then a charging.
I have that hub on my desk.
The Atola?
Uh-huh.
Now, I want to tell you that our favorite choice is somewhere out of my reach, I think, and that is the Sabrent 10-port hub, which is just like this. This one's like $21, and the Sabrent one's like $40. But the Sabrent hubs just have a lot nicer build quality, like with the buttons. So this is nice and cheap. The Atola one is like $21, and for that you get seven USB 3 ports and a single charging port. And each port has an on-off switch, but these on-off switches aren't like nice and springy like the ones on the Sabrent. You got to kind of hold them down for a second to turn them on and off, so they're not as, physically not as nice, but nice and cheap. Most USB hubs these days are USB 3 or maybe labeled as 3.1 or 3.2, but they're usually 5 gigabit ports, and usually mostly type A ports too. But the beauty of having on-off switches for your ports is it makes a few different tasks much, much easier. One of them is changing audio devices. So I have my headphones on. I have something like this for my desktop. Mine is a Sabrent 7-port. And if you have, your speaker, your USB speaker on one and your USB headset on another, you just turn one off and turn one on, and you've changed your audio device rather than going into Windows to try to change your default audio device. The other thing that it's really, really good for are things, if you work with microcontroller boards like Arduino or Raspberry Pi Pico or something like that, and you need to turn them off and on. Most of those boards don't have on, off, or reset switches, but you can just turn the USB port that it's on off and turn it back, or just turn it off and on to reset it. And so I love, and you can, also have things like, oh, you've got a USB drive in here, but you're not using it most of the time. Okay, turn this port off. So I love the on-off switch ports. One thing to keep in mind, though, is you won't get fantastic charging off of, if you're in it for the charging, if you want to, say, charge your headset, charge your phone, whatever. Most of these just regular data ports, even though they're physically capable, I guess, of delivering you about 5 volts and up to maybe 5 volts at like 2.2 or 2.1 amps. They don't actually do it. you usually are getting like a trickle charge. So some of these, like the Atola here, have a dedicated charging port, and that gives you the full, like, what I actually found was it was something like, it would be at like 4.75 with my phone. It would go to 4.75 volts and like, what was it, 2.1 amps or 2.2 amps, something like that. So you get about, even though it says you can get up to 15, I was getting like maybe on my Pixel, maybe 12 or 13 watts of charging, which is, decent charging. So our favorite hub actually is the Sabrent 10 port hub, where 7 of the ports are data and 3 are just for charging. So it's important to keep in mind whether you're actually going to charge stuff off of your hub. Now, if you are on the go, then you want something completely different for your hub. You want something small. You have a laptop that only takes USB Type-C, so you need a hub that has a Type-C connector on it. And you don't need or want one that has its own power source and AC adapter, because that's another plug you got to lug around with you. So here's a fun little cute USB hub. Look at this. Have you ever seen one this small and cute?
No. That's tiny.
So this is by a company called Joy Reckon, and I think it's like $11, something like $11 on Amazon, and it turns one USB 3.8 Type A port on your laptop into 4, and it also has a little RGB light, although you can't control it; just changes colors along the side when it's plugged in. So it's nice and cute. The only thing is, and I haven't like durability tested it by trying to break it, I can totally imagine a situation where when you have this sticking out of your laptop, if you are too aggressive in plugging something in, that you could break it.
100%.
But so because it's a stick, which you don't normally see, most hubs have a wire, and and portable hubs, usually it's a built-in wire, but it's a wire. Now the plus of this is that if you're sitting in a tight spot, like you're sitting in a seat and there are people on either side of you, and you don't want like a USB hub that's like dangling onto the floor, this will give you that. But the other thing is, a lot of times people are buying a USB hub for their laptop because they don't even have a Type A port, so this wouldn't help them at all. Now, what you really want, of course, is something like, you might want something like this. This is both portable and actually for desktop, although I guess it might even be better for desktop. This is another Sabrent. It has 3 Type A ports, and it has a card reader. Sometimes it's nice to have a little extra thing like a card reader in yours. And you can see the USB-C cables built in, and then it's got a magnet on the bottom and a sticker, and you can take the magnet and stick it to your desk permanently, and then when you are at home, you could stick this down to the magnet. It won't flop around your desk. And this is metal, so I really like this one.
And then when you're ready,
for that reason,
when you're ready to
yep.
to go, like to take it with you with a laptop, you can just and go. Awesome. Yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So this is, there's a lot of ones that kind of look like this with the aluminum. This Sabrent one I really like. These all have very memorable names. Like, this one is called I think it's called the Sabrent HB-U3CR.
Sure.
Go to our website and find the pictures. Go to Amazon and search. Another one I have in here that's interesting is this one here from U Green. Again, another like Type C, but it's got 4 ports, so good for Mac. That's Type C only, good for a lot of Ultrabooks. that only have Type-C. What other goodies do I have in here? Here is another for people who have Type-A and want more ports. This one, it has on-off switches for the ports, but I don't think it's as useful on a portable hub as it is on a desktop hub that has power. But it does have, and there's switches on this. They're not buttons, so
Okay.
not as cool. Not nearly as cool. Let's see what else is in there. Oh, okay. So this is worth checking out. This one here that I'm getting out of my bag of wonders is an Enatech 10 gigabit one. So everything else I've shown you has been 5 gigabit, right? So if you have a 10 gigabit external drive, like an enclosure that we talked about recently, that operates at 10 or 20 or 40 gigabits, those hubs would only give you up to 5. This is a 10, but it's a little bit of a weird 10 because it is a Type A 10, whereas a lot of things are Type C and 10. This is a Type A 10 gigabits, and it has connectors on it that are all 4 connectors on it that are Type A 10 gigabits. So if you, most laptops actually, their A ports are 5, and if you want 10, then you need to use the C port. You can get this with a C connector built in instead, which might be the more useful choice for a lot of people. But on the back of my desktop, motherboard, I happen to have a 10 gigabit A port as well, and I tested it, and it's definitely good to have 10 over 5 because that's like doubles. If you've got an external drive, you can go from like a transfer rate that's like 250 or 300 megabytes per second to like 500. So it really ups your transfer rate. It's definitely a big plus to go up to that if you're doing a lot with, say, external SSDs. Another one here, this is just weird, but I thought I would show it. This is another Joy Reckon. It is just a triangle, like a pyramid shape with a V on it, and the V lights up in RGB colors. It also has this USB-C port on the back, which I have no idea what it does because it actually is not documented and doesn't seem to do anything. Although if you put power into it, it will light up. But maybe it can't be a power pass-through because this is Type A and you don't pass power to Type A. So I really, maybe you could give it bus power that way. I don't know. It doesn't. The instructions don't even mention it. But it's.
I do like the idea that at the top there's an illuminated V, even though there's no V anywhere in the company's name.
Yes, I don't know why that is, but if I unplugged something else here, I could probably show you that it changes colors. Afraid to unplug the wrong thing, but let's see. I could
hopefully not the webcam.
Yeah, that's okay. So maybe now you can see it's very faint kind of, and if you hit this button, it'll change. There you go. It's for someone who's a really big fan of the TV miniseries V. If you liked V and V the Final Battle and V the TV show, or even the reboot of V that was really not good, then this is the USB hub for you.
V for Vendetta?
Yes, if you like V for Vendetta. Exactly, yeah.
This is going to be popular among Anonymous.
Yeah, there you go. Except they probably like things a little bit higher quality. But anyway, all joking aside, we've got a list of USB hubs, and I think the thing to keep in mind is if you're using it on your desk, then especially with a device that has Type A, a laptop that has Type A ports, or a desktop that has even better desktop that has Type A ports, because you're not moving anywhere, you want a nice big hub with on-off switches for each port. If you're using it for your laptop on the go, you want something that has a port that you can use. Maybe if your laptop only has Type C, obviously you want Type C port, and you want something that is, uh, light, easy to carry, uh, but good quality. So, depending on whether you want to get one that's, you know, nice materials like metal, or has extra things built in, like this, like this card reader. Oh, really interesting one, which I don't. Oh, one more thing, two more things. Here I have one that is made for an iPad. So this is an Anchor
Okay.
one that's made
Good.
specifically for an iPad, and it has the reason. I mean, theoretically, you could use it on a laptop too, but why it's made for an iPad is it's got this kind of chin on it that makes it really easy to plug into one of the USB-C iPads, and then you can. And it also has other things on the back, so it only has one Type A port, but it has a HDMI out, card reader, 3.5 audio, and then a power pass through so that you can keep charging while you
Nice.
use it. So that could be useful if you've got one of the iPads that has Type C. And then somewhere around here, which I don't think is in the bag at my feet, so I'll just tell you what it is. I have an Anchor, a hub by Anchor, which has an SSD built into it.
Hmm.
It has a 256 gigabyte SSD built into it. So that's kind of wild. I find it. It's called the Anchor Power Expand 4-in-1 USB-C hub, and it's a very unassuming looking hub with just a couple of Type A ports,
And the
HDMI out.
and the name kind of downplays it.
Yes, Power Expand. Like, what do you mean? Well, it happens to have a 256 gigabyte SSD built in that operates pretty quickly. So, it's could be your backup drive too. So, um, you can't even tell from looking at it though. If I were them, I would have, played it up in the design a little bit.
Sure.
Um, but um, anyway, so those are the USB hubs to consider. If you can get a USB hub for under $10, you can get the Power Expand for close to $100 because it's got the SSD inside. But I strongly recommend that folks, especially if you're getting a gift certificate for the holidays, or you're thinking about buying somebody else a gift for the holidays, like a really nice USB hub could be a really good gift for someone.
Nice. Yeah. Especially for people who take a computer around a lot, like myself. I've got a couple of nice ones out in mission control at the desktops, but my portable one is, what's the word? Right, old.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of opportunity to upgrade somebody there and get them something nice. I mean, I'd really like to see. I still haven't seen like the Dream Hub, which would have a combination of A and C outputs and on-off switches for all of them, and be operating at like 10 or 20 gig, 10 or 20, or even USB 4 speeds. That would be ideal. A lot of that stuff though, now if you want like USB 4, or Thunderbolt, you're usually not using a hub, you're using a dock. Although
Yeah,
the line between what is a hub and what is a dock is a very blurry line anyway. I mean, I guess it's a matter of some interpretation.
we definitely
But
saw that one for the iPad.
yeah, right. It had HDMI out, right? So it depends. When I set out to do this page, I said it's going to be hubs, not docks.
Okay.
But because docks, then we get into testing the video out, and
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of other features. But um, yeah, there's also obviously a lot of hubs out there, but those are usually a lot more money too. So.
Very true. Well, As always, Avram, I appreciate the information. I have legitimately been looking for something to replace my mobile hub that for longtime viewers of the show, there was a point when we were on a different set and there was a TV that was right here and Avram was on it over my shoulder and
Like Max Headroom.
yeah, and I had to control it via a wired mouse, and that mouse plugged in through this hub, and we haven't done that in years. So, oh, probably since close to the time that you took the second chair. So it's it's a pretty old hub, and it wasn't new then. That's why it was sacrificed to that purpose. So definitely been looking for one. So definitely appreciate the information. And as always, Avram, I look forward to what we talk about next time. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Piltch Point with Avram Piltch. If you did, please subscribe to our channel, and of course hit the notification bell since subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. And if you've got topics you'd like us to discuss in the future, we'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you don't want to follow us on YouTube, that's okay. There's a lot of other ways that you can follow our content. You can find all of that by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all the different ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.